Welcome to Bhagavatam Rasamalya English lecture. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadodayam Ude Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Semi Bhagavat Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Sanando Gopamaya Govindaya Namo Namo. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, verse number 22. Name of the chapter: Maharaja Nimi meets the 9 Yogendras. So as we are just a recap, we are discussing about the Maharaj Nimi, how he interacts with 9 Yogendras, and Nimi also put forth the 9 questions to Yogendras, where we saw in the last verse, and the transcendental answers to these inquiries were given by the great devotees Kavi, Havir, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pipalayana, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamasa and Karabhajana. These 9 Paramahamssas answered the 9 questions each in turn. So, let me recite the verse first. Tayete Bhagavat Rupam Vishwam Sad Asad Atmakam Atmano Vyatirekena Pashyanto Vyacharan Mahim. Translation purport by Bhakti-Rasamrita Srila Prabhupada. These sages wandered the earth, seeing the entire universe with all its gross and subtle objects as a manifestation of the Supreme Lord and as non-different from the self. So as we know, the Paramahamssas, there are 4 categories of renunciation. So if a person renounces himself from this material world, and once if he takes up to the once he enters the sannyasa ashram, there are 4 stages in the sannyasa in the renounce stages. Kuticha, Paramahamsa, Parivrajacharya. So there are one more thing is, so 4 stages are there. So Paramahamsa, the meaning of Paramahamsa is it is compared to swan. So we all know that when swan takes how the swan takes the drinks milk. So if there is any dilution of water in the milk, the swan leaves the water and consumes only the milk. Similarly, the Paramahamsas, they leave out everything which is disconnected to the Lord. They accept or they carry out their service, they proceed their service only when it is connected to Krishna or connected to the Lord. So the all remaining things they will not consider it at all, because they very much know that once we take up these concerns which are disconnected and unrelated to lordships, definitely we will be in a soup, and definitely there is a chances of falling down from the spiritual platform. So that is why the sannyasis or the renounce stage, especially Paramahamsas, they are very, very cautious and their they're very cautious, and their consciousness is fully filled with Lord's glories, and also spreading the Lord's glories. Especially, they keep on spreading the glories of the Lord, so that whatever Maya wants to operate its plot, or when the Maya wants to capture the particular person, they are no way connected with that. They are least bothered about that, because Paramahamsa's consciousness will be fully filled with Krishna's name, fame, glories and leelas. So that is why Paramahamsas are like these Navayogendras are in a topmost position, the cliff point of a spiritual platform. That is why no material desires or no material contamination can even brush them, can even not go near them. So they are so much like fire like. As soon as we put some fuel on its fire, immediately it gets blast like that. As soon as they get some sort of a material contamination, immediately they fire it with the knowledge of sword, that is the scriptural credentials, with scriptural credentials. So they are very that is why they wear the saffron dress. The very meaning of the saffron dress is it fires all the material contamination and material desires, and whatever the material positions they have, and whatever the material inner desires they have, they just burn it with the fire like saffron, saffron like fire. So that's how the Paramahamsas are very, very cautious and consciousness. So wherever they go, they keep on preaching, they keep on spreading about the Krishna consciousness, the Charitamrita, the Paramahamsya Charitam, having fully developed the character of Paramahamsas. These 9 Yogendras, the sons of Rishabhadev, who is the expansion of the Vasudeva. So the word Atmano Vyatirekena indicate that the 9 sages saw the universe. Atmano Vyatirekana, the meaning of these 2 words is whatever they see in this universe, whether it is subtle, whether it is gross, they see it is non-different from them, and also non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. So that's sort of a mentality they have, these Navayogendras. That means Paramahamsas, all Paramahamsas. Because we know that very much we know from the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna says everything emanates from me, and also in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 1st chapter, 1st verse, he says that Vyasa Maharshi explains that everything emanates from him only. Janmadi Ashyayata, and he is the only one super soul, and all are Anu. He is Vibhu, and all other living entities are, as we see in as we have read in the Kathopanishad, that Nityo Nityo Nam Chetanas Chetana Nam Eko Bhavanam Eko Bahudadi Vidadadi Kama. That means Supreme Personality is only one, and there are innumerable living entities who are depending on Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in quality they are one, in quantitatively they are different. Like we see the ring in our finger, our bracelet in our hand, in the wrist, and it is also gold, and in the mind it is also gold. Both are gold. In quality both are gold. It has same feature, but quantitatively it is oceanic. But we are only just Anu. Just Anu. We are Anu Atma and Bhagavan is Vibhu Atma. Is Paramatma. Super soul. Atmano means also super soul. So and the living entity and the Supreme Personality of God has nothing to do with the material world. Though Krishna comes or incarnates or comes down from the spiritual world to the material world, that is called incarnation. Just like we are coming from the first floor to the ground floor. Similarly, Krishna comes from spiritual planet to the material planet, spiritual world to material world. That is called incarnation. So he is not at all connected. He is not at all connected with any material contamination, or he is not at all connected. He is not at all connected with any material world. Though he is in the material world, nothing affects him. They will not have any impact him. So even the living entity also has the same quality like Supreme Lord, as we see in Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Paramahamss Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So Sarvakarana Karanam. So he is the cause of all causes because he is the primeval Lord. He is Adi, is the oldest, but Navayavana, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam, Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam. In that verse, Brahma says that he is Achyutam, he will never fall, and Advaitam is only one, and Achyutam, Krishna never falls. Achyuta means to fall, Achyuta means to never fall. Advaita Achyutam Anadi means very oldest, and he is the beginning, he is the end. There is no beginning for him, but we have beginning, and even all the demigods have beginning, but Devagan also have a beginning and end. But the Supreme Lord doesn't have any beginning and ending. And he is also called Aja. Aja means unborn. No birth for him. He is Aja. Ajopisam Avyatma. And he is never exhaustible. So many verses explains about the features of Lord Supreme Personality of Godhead. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayavvanam Cha Vedesu Durlabha Adurlabha Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Very amazing verse, if you see the meaning of it. He is Advaitam, one, Achyutam, never falls, Anadi, oldest, Anantarupam, unlimited forms. Advaitam Achyutam Anadi Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham. So he is the oldest personality. Navayavvanamcha. See, there are contradictions. Some people they may see the contradictions, but it is only devotees can understand, because Vedesha Sarva, because Navayavvanamcha Vedesu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Dham. Even Vedas also cannot sometimes explain. Only devotees can understand this. Vedesu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. One who have the intense relationship with Lord, those personalities only can understand this tattva, this Krishna tattva, this philosophical ideologies, they can only understand. So Navayavanam is 16. Even you can never see Krishna in any picture or in any places that Krishna is becoming old and he is having beard like sadhus and he is having kamandal, all those things. You can never see him. He always looks very young, very Navayavanam cha. So Krishna is always beautiful, always 16. He is always 16 years old. So here in Bhagavad Gita also says the entire universe consisting of gross and material elements. Gross and so there are 24 elements of the elements are there which constitute this body. Bhumirapo Anaro Vayu Kam Mano Buddhir Yevacha. So that is Panchabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether. And that is called grass body, and the subtle body is mind, false ego and intelligence, and other things, 5 senses, 5 gyanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, and also mind. I mean, all these things constitutes, and 3 modes, all this constitutes these 24 elements of the body, from where we emanate. So that is called in Bhagavad Gita Vinna Prakriti, the fragmented, the separated or the inferior energy of the Supreme Personality of God. So Lord Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita that he has eternally established his own abode in the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, full bliss of knowledge, and the living entity being part and parcel of God is also eternal. So here the both Jivarasi, the Jivarasi, the living entity, and the Supreme Personality of God are eternal, because Krishna has its independent kingdom in Goloka Vrindavanam, one of the topmost planet in Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha there are innumerable planets are there. So among them, the topmost planet where the original Krishna resides there, from him everything emanates. He is the source of all incarnations. So he is the source of incarnations, but he doesn't have any beginning and end. Nothing is a source for him. He is the source for everything. That is why he is called Avatari, or the source of, is a reservoir of everything. So from him, the immediate expansion is Balaram. From Balaram is the Adi Guru. From Balaram, everything will get expanded. So it's a very interesting, amazing, splendid explanations given in Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Beautiful explanations. One should really spend time and study and understand these literatures. It's really, one becomes very intelligent. At the same time, one should become also very humble in distributing these literatures also. One should not be boast too much of pride, like I know everything, no one and all others are inferior to me. No one, nothing, not like that. One should not cultivate that habit of boasting of or getting puffed up. So along with studying literatures, along with that developing knowledge in understanding the literatures, one should also develop or cultivate the prime subject of devotion service is humbleness. Should be very humbleness. So so the living entity is also, you should understand that I want to explain that living entity is also full of eternal bliss and knowledge. Sachit Ananda Vigraha. Sachit means, Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. Same like Krishna, we also have the same quality. We means, I means not this body, the soul, the Jiva who is inside. So this Jiva has been covered by this Deha. Dehinosmin is covered by this embodied, this body. So like how this body is covered by the cloth, similarly the soul is covered by the body. So as soon as the soul comes out, the body is dead. So we are also the part and parcel of the Lord, as Krishna says, Mamayavamsa Jivaroke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manaha Sastindriyani. So he says all these jivas are part and parcel of mine. So one more thing I want to throw light on that. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, though he comes to the material world, and though this whole creation is manifested by Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is totally and he is aloof. This word is very important. He is aloof from this creation. Though he creates, he maintains and he devastates all the universes. He is the first creator. Brahma is the second creator, appointed and recruited by Krishna himself. See, when he comes out, though he creates this universe, Krishna is aloof from this, because the original Krishna and Balaram, they never comes out from Vrindavan or Goloka Vrindavan. They always have they nourish the sweet mellows in Vrindavan, having having a spiritual pleasure with Gopas and Gopikas and all the cowherd boys, but they never come out from this Goloka Vrindavan. So who comes out from Goloka Vrindavan? Everything comes, all are his plenary expansions, all are his quadruple expansions of Krishna. And nobody in Krishna never comes from Goloka Vrindavan. Even in Kurukshetra also it is Vasudeva who came and served Arjuna as a charioteer, as a Parthasarathi. So that we have to understand, that we have to keep in mind that Krishna is aloof from his entire creation, because there are so many vibhutis and his expansions who maintain these universes, like Mahavishnu, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, Karnodakasha Vishnu, Garbhodakasha Vishnu, and the other one is Chirodakasha Vishnu. These Mahavishnus, they maintain this entire universes, this material world. So Krishna never is aloof from this, though everything rests in him. So you can just understand the criteria, the intricacies that this whom we worship as a great Mahavishnu and Narayana and so many Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, even Balaram, topmost of all these incarnations, all have come from Krishna only. All have come from Krishna only. So everybody has come from Krishna. All these expansions have come from Krishna. So he is the Adi. He is the reservoir of all incarnations. He is the source of all incarnations. Like how we light one candle, and from one candle light we can light so many thousands and thousands of candles. So similarly, Krishna is the first one, and he can, and from him, and he is Aja, he is unborn. He is there ever, he will always be there. He will be there ever, present, past, future, always he will be there. Whatever activities, whatever annihilation, whatever devastation, whatever Paramahamss, he will be there. Krishna will be there. And his expansions also will be there. That is Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva is there. So Jiva Tattva always annihilates after his specific time. So everything rests in him, but he is aloof from them. Like how I can give you a very good example that if one managing director is there, he will be having multiple companies throughout the world, globally. But though his managing director or owner or proprietor for all the companies, he will not be there. He will be aloof from all the companies. But still everything rests in him. He is the only proprietor, but he will not go and work. He will not have any coordination, or he will not do any sort of organizing or cooperating or managing. But all his different agents, different managerial persons will manage all the different companies, like chain group. We have like that. So though Krishna creates, maintains and annihilates, he is aloof from that universe, but still everything rests in him. This we should understand nicely. Like this, Narada also comments on this statement, like if we have a tree, from tree everything comes. Trunk, branches, leaves, fruits, everything comes from the tree. But though it comes from the tree, it is not separate. It is still separate, but the source is only the tree. From the tree only it comes. Like that, even the Brahma Jyoti also emanates from the spiritual body of Krishna. So the Prakasham, the Jyoti, what we say is the Brahma Jyoti is also from Krishna or Mukunda only. But the impersonal cosmic manifestation is also Mukunda because it is emanation from the energy of Mukunda. So a tree is a complete unit, whereas the leaves, branches of the tree are emanated parts of the tree. So the leaves and branches of the tree are also the tree, but the tree itself is neither leaves nor the branches. So the Vedic version that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman means that since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Like how in the body we have hands, legs, nose, eyes, ears, everything we have. But everything though it is separate, but still everything comes from this body only. Everything comes from this body only. The body is a whole part, like we say in Ishopanishad, states that Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purnata Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adhaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. So meaning the Supreme Lord, the Absolute Truth is Purna, or complete in himself, and since the cosmic world is the manifestation of his potency, it also appears to be the Purna. So what this Ishopanishad says is, first verse, Om Purnam Ada Purnam Udachyate Idam Purnam Udachyate. So Purnasya Purnam Adhaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. So the Supreme Lord is absolute truth, and he is Purna, means full. He is full. He is full and he is complete in himself. So there is nothing shortage, nothing lacking. Everything is Purna. He has everything. There is no thing which is called a lacking or shortage or something like that. He is Purna. He is complete, whole. But the cosmic manifestation also comes from him only, comes from the Purna, from the complete, from the full. And the cosmic manifestation also becomes Purna because it comes from the Purna. That is why it is complete. That is why the material world is an emanation from the Supreme Lord. It is non-different from him. Exactly as the sun rays non-different from the sun globe, which is the source of their emanation. Similarly, the living beings who are the expansion of the superior or conscious energy of the Supreme Lord are also non-different from Krishna. So we, the living entities, are also from Purna, from complete, from whole. So we are also Purna because we come from Purna, we are also complete. But like how from the sun globe, the sun rays comes, because sun is there, the sun rays comes, and the sun is full. Even sun rays is also full. It's similarly non-different from the sun globe, which is the source of their emanation. Although the Lord is infinitely greater than any other living being, or than all of them combined, every living being is qualitatively and non-different from the Lord, because all living beings are part of himself. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has emphasized in this regard that the absolute substance is one and called as Paramatma or the Super Soul. When one has achieved but a partial vision of Paramatma, one's understanding of life is called Atma Darshana or self-realization. And when even this partial understanding is lacking, one's existential condition is called anatma darshana, or ignorance of the self, in the state of partial realization of the super soul without recognition of the partial realization of the supreme soul, without recognition of the Paramahamss distinction from the individual soul. So the living entity tends to become puffed up by spiritual achievement, be carried away by mental concoction, and consider himself equal in all respects with God. On the other hand, the living entity situated in anatma darshana, or material ignorance, feels that he is completely different from the Supreme Lord, and since everyone is in the material world is interested in himself, the living entity forgets about God, thinking that God is completely different from him, and there is therefore no substantial relationship between him and God. In this way, the impersonal transcendence emphasizes only the oneness between God and the living entity. So here, they are explaining Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada is explaining about the Mayavadis. See, Mayavadis say it is oneness. I am and myself and God are same. There is no difference between me and God. I am also God and you are also God. Everybody is God, he says. So foolish. If everybody is God, then why do we write letters? Why do we send emails? Why do we send WhatsApp message, Telegram message? What's the fun of sending all those things if everybody is Paramatma? And why do we offer obeisances? And what is the reason we worship God, Lord? And what is the reason why we chant the holy names of the Lord? If both are same, it's really funny, ridiculous it is. So Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj says, criticizes this one, and he condemns the Paramatma. They are called anatma darshana, or materially ignorance. We are not the same, we are different. That's what Madhvacharya says. If we both are same, then why do we pay obeisances? Why do we pay the Dandavad Namaskarams to Lord Supreme Personality of God? There is no fun. There is no it's not necessary. So we are different. We are Jivatma and Bhagavan is Paramatma. Dvaita. So we can never become one. If we are one, then can we do the heroic activities done by Krishna? He lifted Govardhana hill in a little finger and he kept it for 7 days. At the age of 3 months, he killed the big, huge giant Putana. When she left the body, it was some kilometers distance was there, her body. Such a huge giant, he just drank the life air and killed her. And he also killed Hiranyakashipu, just like we kill some small insects. So we cannot become one. Krishna is Paramatma, Vibhu Atma, and we are Anu Atma. So he is different and we are different. But qualitatively we are one, and his quantitatively is huge, very huge, infinite his. We cannot calculate, we cannot estimate. That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Achinta Beda Abeda Tattva. We are oneness, and similarly we are different. In quality we are same, but in quantity we differ. So that is why we should be, our constitutional position is Jivera Sarupahai Krishna Re Nityadasa. If one can understand that he is an eternal servant of Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can correctly understood that both the living entity and the material universe are identical with Krishna, being emanations from him, and that they are therefore non-different from each other. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati stated the material world is manifestation of simultaneous difference and non-difference, and is form of Supreme Lord. That is Achinta Beda Abeda Tattva. Hey, so in fact, the entire universe, along with the spiritual sky, exists as eternal testimony to the unlimited glory of the Supreme Personality of God Krishna. With this understanding, the nine Yogindas were traveling about the earth in transcendental bliss. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Hare Krishna.